coin faces also affect the activation of certain skill effects. Did you know?
탄수화물은 식후 졸음을 유발한다고 매번 말하지 않았나? 내 연구팀한텐 저쪽 책상에 커피 3잔만 가져다 주면 됐어. 알아서 먹을 테니 못 들은 걸로 부탁하지.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm Erkamak. This is Limbus Company. Walpurgis is here. And I actually do not have my hands on Index Nurse Father Yi Sang, so there's a very low chance that we'll be seeing something new and cool this time. But anyway, just a quick glimpse at what their abilities are. Deal 10% more damage for every spore on target, 5 spore to a max of 30%. At max spore round, inflict pierce fragility. Or purse for short. Coin power +1 for every burn and bleed on the target. Inflict 2 burn, inflict 2 bleed. Spend spore round base. Some attacks cancel if lacking ammo. When spent, inflict 2 spore on hit. To a maximum stack of 15, gain 1 burn count for every 5 stack. Oh, so he's actually a really cool burn ego. Burn ID. Ego Altercation Buckshot. If main target has burn plus bleed, coin power +1. If this unit has loyalty pheromone, clash power +1. I'm just double checking. Okay, my microphone is off and my desktop audio is on, so this recording should be going well. If the main target has burn and bleed, gain coin power. If we have loyalty pheromone, clash power. Gain protection, haste, and clash power up. Ooh, so this actually gains extra clash power. Convert coins equal to loyalty pheromone into unbreakable coins. Begin with a final coin. At 1 or fewer spore round base after attack end. Reload germination. Consume 16 minus sum of spore round divided by 2, SP. Reset both to 0 stacks, then gain them up to the maximum. Okay, spend buckshot, buckshot, and buckshot for burn count, bleed count, burn count. Not bad. Deals less damage against sub-targets, and it has attack weight. It doesn't say anything about getting more attack weight though. Oh, I really want to see what he can do in the Wrath excavation now. Oh, flying plane. Field test, Dust Spark. Deal 50% for every excess attack weight beyond the actual number of targets. So I wonder if this means it is dealing extra damage to targets that have slot weight. In focused encounters, the part, I think that is. That 2 or fewer base round, consume 6 SP to gain 3 base round. Coin power +1 for every burn and bleed. If this unit has loyalty pheromone, clash power. Convert coins equal to loyalty pheromone into unbreakable, beginning with a third. At 3 loyalty pheromone, gain 1 attack weight. Ooh. So it is going to hit really hard at 3 loyalty pheromones. The problem is I'm pretty sure that you need enemies that can be actually killed off to get that. This coin hits only a single target, main target. I don't think there's any way to not be able to use that on your first coin. If they die from bleed, it cancels the skill. This coin hits only a single target, this coin hits only a single target. Spend a round of buckshot. If the target's spore is at max stack, deal the following. Burn potency times spore stack wrath damage, rounded down. Dealing wrath damage with this effect counts as activating burn. Target loses burn count, spore on target expires. That's really rotten, because we want spore on the target. Less damage against sub-targets. Spore round base, spore round base, spore round buckshot. 6 buckshot, 10 main ammo. Okay. Always begin with 10 spore round base and 6 spore round buckshot. On hit with coins that spend Spore Round, if it's base, inflict 2 Spore. If it's Buckshot, inflict 3. This counts as negative effect infliction. Okay, and Spore doesn't count as a unique burn or a unique bleed. Before use of a coin that spent Spore Round Buckshot. If they don't have Buckshot, consume 2 SP and 2 base to gain a Buckshot. If running out of Spore Round mid-skill, cancel all subsequent coins and reload Germination. When targets with Spore are killed, gain Loyalty Pheromone. The research teams, that's us. Examination has confirmed that even gears that were outcomes of stable refined extraction may undergo slight mutations depending on the user. No, I wouldn't attribute that to incompleteness. Rather, such changes may be a process of these gears reaching their own completion. Like real ego. Let us label this phenomenon alteration for now. Spore Diffusion. On kill against targets with Spore, gain the following effects. Double Spore inflicted next turn. On a base attack, gain Spore number of Spore Round, the skill spends divided by 2, Spore Round. Rounded up once per skill. Okay, when targets with Spore are killed, gain Loyalty Pheromone. It doesn't say anything about him needing to get the kill, just that they have to have it. Gonna run this one by me again. Max Stack. This does spend Buckshot though. We'll have to see what it's like in an actual fight. 4 Wrath Resonance. Ally PS base attack skill end. The ally heals HP equal to 10% of HP dealt with the attack, but only twice per encounter. For this turn, if all base skills equipped on all allied skill slots are PS skills, heal 10 SP. Interesting. Defense. 4+10 evade skill. Reload Germination once per turn. Coin power +1 for every 6 burn and bleed on the attacker. Heal 10 HP. If this unit has Loyalty Pheromone, heal an additional 5 for every stack. Sanity mechanics. 10 for winning a clash, 10 for defeating an enemy higher or equal level, 5 for an ally that does it instead. Defeated allies reduce it. Okay. Lobotomy, Ego, Faint Aroma, and Solitude. Bang Bang, 4+4. Inflict 2 Singing Count and 3 Tremor. Stories That Never Cease, 9+1 Unclashable Unfocused Volley. When this skill inflicts Solitude, if the target already has it this turn or will be inflicted with it, trigger a Tremor Burst instead and reduce Tremor count by 1. 1 Singing Count, 2 Solitude next turn, 2 Solitude next turn, 2 Solitude next turn. Okay. If this is the only way to get Solitude, then it means that you get Tremor Bursts instead. If it eats up the focused volley. Gotcha. Blossoming Fragrance in the Void. Coin power +1 for every Tremor and Sinking. Deal extra damage for all the faint aroma on the target. Inflict 3 Singing Count and spend a Solitude. Inflict 3 faint aroma, inflict another 3 faint aroma. Gain a stack if this unit takes sinking damage. Upon Tremor Burst, apply faint aroma on 3 other allies. At max stack, gain 2 Tremor and trigger Tremor Burst, take gloom damage equal to singing on self, lose all faint aroma. Cannot gain more for the rest of the turn. 30 is a pretty big number to hit though. If this unit is killed, inflict remaining faint aroma divided by 2 on its allies. Okay. And this is also PS. Full Bloom. Coin power +1 for every Tremor plus Singing on target. To a maximum of 2. Faint Aroma, Faint Aroma, Faint Aroma. 2 Tremor. Inflict a Tremor Burst, then reduce count by 1. Deal Gloom damage equal to Sinking. But it doesn't reduce the Sinking. So it's going to be at least 5 Sinking provided she got the other shots off. Okay. Magnificent End, 12+7. External effects cannot reuse the skill. Deal 30% for every excess attack weight beyond the number of actual targets. Final power +1 for every sum of faint aroma. Lose all petals on self. Inflict 5 faint aroma, 3 sinking, 3 tremor. Trigger a tremor burst. Deal gloom damage equal to sinking. Gain 10 petals once per turn. Gain 2 fragile and 2 attack power up next turn. 10. I'm so glad that they're giving us more evade IDs now. 10 petals. To a maximum of 30 stacks, offense level for every 10 stacks can gain up to 15 per turn. That's very important. Passives. The void cannot be filled. Begin encounters with 6 Solitude. At 1+ Solitude, if an enemy has less than 40 SP or is staggered, but at this or an ally's attack end, use Bang Bang once per turn. Okay, so it's not just staggering. If we knock someone's SP down to dangerous levels, then she'll also throw that extra attack in. That's cool. At 0 Solitude, use Stories That Never Cease as an unopposed attack. Consume 10 SP to reload. So this is what she's throwing out easily. This is how you get that, by running out of bullet. And then she reloads. But she doesn't seem to be getting reloads on anything else, huh? Gain a petal if the enemy takes sinking damage. Gain petal equal to faint aroma every time enemies gain faint... Okay. When they gain faint aroma, gain petals. So that's 6 there. 4 there. Yeah, that is 6. Wow. At 30+ petals, use Magnificent End against the target with the highest faint aroma. Deal faint aroma damage against staggered targets. When losing 10% HP, heal 3% HP and 10 SP once per turn. I think that is actually tying very heavily into the Library of Ruin early rune. Spring's Genesis. 3 Sloth Resonance. When the ally with the fastest speed hits an enemy with a skill that inflicts sinking potency count or unique sinking, inflict 2 tremor and trigger a tremor burst. Then reduce target's tremor by 1. That sounds like a Mola Ishmael type of skill. Alright, so her sanity mechanics are the same as always. And last but not least, Singing Machine, Sinclair. The Addiction Ego. 6+2 though, that's ridiculously underpowered for something that takes 6, 7, 8 ego resources. Clash power +1 for every burn plus bead on the main target. Deal more damage based on missing HP on self. Deal less damage against sub-targets. On target kill, give out Rhythm. 2 stacks, once per skill. But he can only use this skill once. Oh wait, no, it's because it has attack weight. If we kill multiple people, we still only get 2 Rhythm. Heal 12 SP for 1+ highest resonance other allies with the least SP to a maximum of 4 units. For 2 turns, lose 8 SP at turn end. 18, 26. Inflict burn, inflict bleed, inflict burn, heads hit. At 10% more HP, take damage once per coin, then reuse this coin. So he's going to take about 4 to 8 damage, but keep reusing it up to 4 times. This does not stagger or reduce this unit below 1. Inflict a burn, a bleed, and a random ally gains 1 to 3 rhythm next turn. Okay, so at max SP he's going to be 35, so he has a pretty good chance of reusing this coin a lot of times. That's why it has such terrible coin power. We want this to go unopposed on someone. And he's also giving out lots of extra rhythm. That's very Library of Ruiner. +1 offense level for every stack, -1 defense level for every stack, 2% damage for every stack, and end at turn end. Corrosion. It is a negative coin, low power, but it also has minus unbreakables. Clash power +1 for every 2 burn and bleed on the main target. Deal more damage based on missing HP. Less damage against sub-targets. Gain attack weight equal to highest resonance divided by 2, but to a maximum of 2. Base power -2 for every cracked coin, so he is going to get it off, but it's going to be rolling as though it was all heads. In fact, it's probably going to roll worse than that. Heal 15 SP for 4 other allies with least SP. All allies gain Rhythm, Wrath, Lust, Envy, and Fragile next turn. Fragile and the negative defense level sounds dangerous. If the target was killed, activate the effect once more. So that's 4 Rhythm he's giving away. Unbreakable Bleed, Unbreakable Burn, on hit. At 10% or more HP, take 10 to 20 damage. Then reuse this coin if the sum of HP lost is less than 50. 4 times per skill. Oh, so because it's randomly between 10 and 20, there's a good chance it's going to be very unlikely you get all the unbreakable coins. Inflict Burn, Bleed, and random ally gains 1 to 3 Rhythm next turn. That was indeed a Rhythm. Gain 2 Rhythm at turn start. On kill, this unit heals HP and SP once per turn. If the target was killed by Ego Skill Harmony, double the amount it heals. If this unit lost SP, heal 4 plus sum of Burn and Bleed SP. Based on all This is weird but kinda cool. Alright, so let's get to what we've all been waiting for. Burn the tickets. Well, we got something cool straight out.
작업 시작 시퀀스 확인 완료. 개체 T0450의 38번째 통착 작업 진행하겠습니다.
Lobotomy Ego Hornet alteration. Again. Oh great, it's the mole office.
그 동화의 끝이 고작 그런 결말이었나. 차라리 듣지 않는 편이 나았겠어.
So I was asked about what the ego glasses on her that Ryoshu is wearing. That's definitely the old lady glasses, because Red Eyes is also a pair of glasses and she has worked with Red Eyes, but Red Eyes are square glasses, old lady is round. Starlight. Bad roll. Now we move on to the Deca extraction tickets. Oh man, we burned all the luck at the start. There's no ego coming up. Hi Ishmael. And now the lunacy. We have 12 rolls before we have to go for the ideality pool, so let's go. Huh. Generous. Oh, it's another announcer I already have. This is why I never pull on anything, so I can just power on through like this when Walpurgis pops up. Oh, hello. It's Mersault again, because of course it is. I can't get anything cool out of this. It feels like Mersault is definitely higher rates for some reason. That's not an ego. I say Mersault has higher rates and then I get Ryoshu, of course. How many rolls is that? 3 more. Okay. Although to be fair, I actually have so many I could go all the way for a second round. That's just rude. They triple dipped me. But it's on stuff that I already have. The further you go into this game, the less reason you have to pull on anything that isn't Walpurgisnacht. $210. We've overshot 190. We have enough that we could actually keep going with the pulls. We don't need to use the ideality. This is making up for all the pulls that I usually don't do. Honestly, I feel kind of horrendously unlucky with how I'm not getting the green pulls from these anymore.
잠시 아파도 참아주세요. 장담할게요. 사람만큼 훌륭한 음악을 만들어주는 건 없어요.
And now we can ideality to get our hands on an answer.
기다려줘서 고마워. 혹시 존댓말을 생략했다고 기분이 상한 건 아니지? 반가워. 나는 헤세드야. 복지팀을 맡고 있어. 엔질라님 말로는 우리가 당분간은 협력하며 지내라 그러네.
Alright, and unfortunately we just never saw Nurse Father Yi Seng show up, so...
선택하는 삶보다는 선택받는 삶. 이 삶의 유쾌함을 느낄 수 있었으면 좋겠소만.
And now for what I'm going to spend the rest of the episode doing, which is looking at these fancy new IDs. So, House of Spiders, Index Nurse Father Yi Sang. 3 plus 3. Karmic consequence, chance to produce a blunt weapon. Coins using blunt weapons deal extra damage. If marked with Mark of the Prescript, extra damage. Convert coins equal to unlocked stage into unbreakable coins. Gain a poise count, and easier to look at it here. Gain a poise count, gain poise, on hit without cracking, inflicts sinking. 4 plus 3, so that's 13. Yikes. Karmic consequence to produce a pierce weapon. Pierce weapons deal more damage. If marked of the Prescript, clash power. Convert coins equal to unlock stage into unbreakable, beginning with the final coin. Gain 3 poise. Inflict sinking, gain poise count, and inflict sinking count if it's uncracked. Gain Prescript devices based on unlock stage. Prescript target inflicted to a random enemy, but only a single target regardless of the number of index units. Mark with the Prescript to base skills on this unit's dashboard. At unlock 2+, prioritize skill 3, and then prioritize the empowered skill. Do not trigger when staggered, mobilized, panicked, or corroded. If Prescript was executed this turn at below unlock 2, heal 4 SP and gain a Prescript. When executing Prescript on a Prescript target, gain 3 Prescript instead, and 8 SP. At unlock 2 and Prescript device 3, heal 4 SP once per turn, or 8 SP if Procuration Hermes has reached 9 stacks. Can gain up to unlock stage plus 2 stacks per turn. So that means it'd take 2 turns at maximum unlock stage, I think. Yeah, it's 3 stages. At unlock 3, gain Shin Fate. Min and max speed plus 1. Poise potency and count is increased, while higher SP than the target deal extra damage. Units without SP are considered to be at 0. Upon entering the encounter, gain Wound Casing Mask. If staggered, recover from stagger excluding force stagger and convert to Sizzling Wound. Apply Desire for Acknowledgement sated to Index Proxy Don Quixote when both units are on the field. Does that mean if one of them leaves because they got forcibly retreated, then the effect ends? And these are all of his random effects. Blunt, and it just does all sorts of crazy things, including fragilities, or a guaranteed crit. Gain Procuration Hermes when using skills with Mark of the Prescript. Very important. And finally, defense. At below unlock 2, activate the following effects. Gain unlock 2. If Grace of the Prescript stack is less than 6, raise it to 6, and gain Karmic Consequence for every Grace of the Prescript granted. Gain Poise count and Poise. Okay. And nothing interesting with the Sanity. Alright, uptie 2. We raise the base speed. We gain Poise on self plus sinking on target coin power boost. We gain 2 poise count instead of 1, so we'll be stable once we make it into Shin territory. On skill 2, gain coin power for poise on self and sinking on target. Convert coins equal to unlock stage unbreakable. This one isn't as stable poise count wise, unfortunately. Combat passive. 1 Gluttony, 1 Gloom, 1 Pride. Deal extra damage with skills marked with Mark of the Prescript for every Grace of the Prescript. Deal 20% with base skills instead. So once you get to 9, it seems like 9 is that magic number where you can start doing whatever you want instead of listening to the Prescript. On hit with base attack skills Unbreakables, gain Procuration. Gain Procuration equal to number of Unbreakable coins. And gain Procuration Hermes with Mark of the Prescript. Okay, that's the important thing that I was worried about, because I was worried that he'd have no way, so when he gets the point... I know that when he gets to Prescript 3, you have to gain Procuration. So you just keep following the lines on the paper and you're fine. This just speeds it up. And after the attack, gain Procuration equal to the number of breakables you were going to use anyway, should the target die before you're finished. So 3 to 7 to 3 to 8. Skill 3 gained. Raise and laugh the blade, cry the waterfall like the scent of fallen leaves. At 9 Procuration Hermes, change this to Furioso Replica once per turn. Prioritize the leftmost skill, bottom row. At less than 9 Procuration Hermes, use a skill 3 to produce a slash weapon. Coins using slash weapons deal even more damage. If marked with Grace of the Prescript, deal 10% damage, 6 plus poise and sinking. Convert coins equal to unlock stage into unbreakables. Gain poise count, gain poise, gain sinking, gain extra damage on unlock. Crit gives out poise count, inflict 2 sinking count. Only one copy of the skill can exist. Furioso Replica 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If marked with Mark of the Prescript, deal extra damage. This coin power cannot change. Instead, for every net coin power increase, final power plus 5. This skill is not affected by Paralyze. At 6 plus poise on self and sinking on target, final power plus 1. Convert all skills to unbreakable coins. Does not gain Procuration Hermes for this turn. Consume all Procuration Hermes on attack end. Inflict burn, bind, and fragile next turn to all targets this unit hit. This coin is fixed as a scythe. On hit without cracking, inflict 3 sinking count. When lacerating through space itself with a scythe. On hit without crit hacking, it's a guaranteed crit. And it deals 30% damage. Right. That's a complete mess though. Okay, boost the coin power on the skill 1. Boost the coin power on the skill 2. Convert Wound Casing Mask to Sizzling Wound at the end of this turn. This unit uses Furioso Replica for the first time. If this unit has Sizzling Wound and Furioso Replica, gain Indulgence and Prescripts. Turn start, gain a burn, gain a bleed. Offense level +3, defense level -3, take less damage from unopposed attacks. Deal extra damage with base attack unbreakable coins. Enhance the combat passive. Gain Procuration Hermes equal to number of the skill's remaining coins divided by 2, rounded down. If Procuration Hermes reaches 9 stacks this turn at turn end. If they don't have a skill 3 on the dashboard, convert the base skill to skill 3. Leftmost slot on the bottom row. And support passive, deal extra slash, pierce and blunt base attack. Used by the first time for any ally, once per type across all ally. Oh, that's good. Well, sort of. It's good for a quick burst if you're able to fill in those resources. Index identities instead deal 10% damage. The application is determined before attack. Okay. I don't know whether it applies to things that are used but don't get to actually go off, such as death by bleed.
심장으로 창을 찔러 거꾸로 매달고 거울로 막 좋아 뜯어먹어라. 원망할 필요는 없어. 금방의 죽음 또한 지령에게 선택받은 것일 테니.
Biosignal identified. Begin recording. You came too. Where am I? Dense overgrowth by general jaw area. Haggard man. This one will do. Be not perplexed by the unfamiliarity of your surroundings. Muted response is much more favourable over a thrashing scream. Will you well embrace my entreaties? Excuse me, it seemed that a thrashing scream was more appropriate. You got a few screws loose upstairs or something? What's up with the sudden violence? Kicking down the chair, stomping on me? What's the point of... You have known such fickleness as this demonstration must have reminded you. It is simply what it is. These prescripts. Concepts that are hardly the sort that answers demands for understanding, if its truth even lies in the realm of fathomability. Right, I see what's going on here. So that wasn't how I was supposed to resolve the weave the gliding thread prescript. I always knew this day would come, but... Indeed, you remain remarkably composed in spite of the circumstances. Seen enough fellas around me who croak well into the intakes as protection, you know. I say I had a good run, comparatively speaking. Speaking of which, aren't you proselytes and proxies supposed to wear a white cloak? Were there exceptions to the dress code or something? As I am neither, exception is no apt explanation for my attire. Now let us proceed. So this is it for me, huh? Go on, do your job. I'm not going to make this hard for you. Others tried to make theirs last just a little longer, but they all met the same end anyway. It doesn't matter. Though the peace with which you face the imminent inevitability is intriguing, and as much as I wish to engage in further dialogue, we are approaching the hour. So be it. It seems I am not alone in finding your attitude intriguing. You have bought 15 more minutes. No, 23. Hermes has gauged that the worth of your existence is increasingly meaningful. Meaningful? How? To whom? Well, what else could it possibly be but the city itself? For every prescript is written by the will of the city. Yeah, it wasn't too bad an attack card in Library of Ruina. Okay. So it's given me some extra time. Just enough to read another pulp magazine. I still don't see how that changes anything when I'm tied to a chair inside this dank basement dungeon. The city's flow works in mysterious ways, its intent and will conveyed, yet veiled from us. So why not, instead of squandering this precious evanescence on such trivial contemplations, take a trip down memory lane with me? Is that what the prescript told you to do? In the absence of justification for secrecy, I shall reply, indeed. My prescripts are swift in both intervals which they are relayed, and by which they facilitate. Such dithering makes their execution a rather serpentine affair. That is why I maintain a collection of sundry people in this basement, that I might need to select one of them with the particular attributes that the prescript demands I find. Indeed, even such preparedness seems to have been ordained by the will of this city, for the collection somehow consists of only those who have defied prescripts of the city. What's your point? That you're keeping this butcher shop of people down here because the city asked you to? That it? That is what I believe to be true, yes, lest I be caught as naught but an insane murder kidnapper. Some of them there are children here. It cannot be helped, for the prescript is indiscriminate in its demands. How did little kids like them even end up snaring themselves in the index's web? I hope my little girl will get to live a life where she won't ever have to associate with the likes of you. You have a daughter? Yeah, celebrated her 5th birthday just a few days ago. I understand now. Sounds like you've got one on yourself. I did. She passed away, I assume. You assume correctly. She was torn limb from limb before my eyes. That's horrible. Just how... In truth, in the moment of witnessing her demise, no anger, no sadness swept me. Those tides await until every affair has been taken care of, until the eyes catch the glimpse of the empty bed and the untouched gift box whose ribbons are still tied like a butterfly. The tides await until the body lays itself upon the couch, the eyes blankly yet ceaselessly glued to the empty spot on the ceiling. Then it comes. Just who could have possibly... Well, I suppose that's the city for you. I suppose I'll die a happy man, knowing that by my death at least my family will be safe. Failing to protect those you are supposed to keep safe. That kind of loss rips out everything inside and leaves nothing behind. No, the husk. The empty husk yet remains. It must have been a rainy season, a constant drizzle suffocating the air. Musty air, grey room. A bit large for one person. Are you reading that from somewhere? Pay it no mind. Now then, where had I left off in my account? You don't remember? You were speaking of the emotions that followed your daughter's death. If you can lock people up like this and carry out the prescripts without any hindrance, you got to be one of the stronger fighters in the city. So, did you manage to avenge your daughter? No. I see. Well, I suppose it only makes sense that your enemies must have been equally formidable if they felt safe enough to go after your family. That is not the case. I simply abstained from delivering vengeance. What? So you held back on avenging your family out of some noble rationalization? The futility of revenge? That's impressive in its own way, but still. There is no labyrinthian profundity in my words. I simply said I abstained from taking revenge. I was occupied by sundry labours to which Hermes guided me. In truth, revenge had no crevice in which to take root, as the prescripts came to me as would a multitude of raindrops after the passing of my family. My becoming a star of the city was not my intention. It was, perhaps, a result of leaving the Southern's way half crippled. Perhaps that drew too much attention. In truth, revenge only begets more revenge, which is why... You know, there's something wrong with the way you're telling your story. You sound awkward, as though you're reading from a script. Are you just repeating whatever your prescript tells you to? Well, I'm afraid I do not see the necessity for an answer. You said earlier, there was no need to hide anything. Now you're changing your tune just like that. Just the way your prescripts so often do, huh? Anyone who knows the joy of having a daughter. No parent could possibly speak or act as you do. Not after a loss like that. You lost your child, the apple of your eye. And you're laughing. That I once had a beloved wife and daughter is true. And though I lost a child, it is also true I have forgotten a child. Or perhaps I ought to phrase it in reverse. Sick bastard. It is still far from sufficient. I must recount the tale of my daughter further. Just kill me and be done with it. Listening to this sick story of yours is driving me crazy with fear for my own daughter. Is your daughter possessed of abundant talent? Any father naturally might flatter himself that his child is gifted in all things. Yet I assure you, mine is unique. Tell me, have you heard of the time... You have heard of the time vault, have you not? Enough. In any age, the education of the child has been both burden and concern to father. Thus we fathers have decided not to spare the whip for the good of our darling daughter. We drove a spiral spike into the body of her beloved puppy, and promised it would be spared should she complete her homework with flying colours. The puppy, of course, was placed safely within the time vault, which is temporarily indefinitely deferred. The so-called shock therapy, as many term that specific direction of pedagogy. Are you sure you're in your right mind? The hell do you mean, fathers? saying you're not the only one here. My darling daughter, being the clever, bright child she is, returned after swiftly completing her homework with nothing short of excellence. I am compelled to say the killing was faster, cleaner than any of us had expected. I'm indeed proud of her. And so we opened the vault and returned the puppy, still impaled by the spiral that turned not once since the animal was placed in the safe. And from that, my daughter discerned a revelation, that the time of one's life, too, may be deferred within the confines of the vault. She realized it could serve as a sanctuary she could use to hide from us whenever she so wished. The new daughter I have acquired recently is also rather talented. Yet she has not the wondrous aptitude to perceive time, nor will she ever attain it. I cannot help but find myself wondering when my darling daughter will come home to me. Pray, have you naught to say? I am allotted 7 minutes of paternal pride to extol my darling daughter. An ideal dialogue requires parity. 5-5 is the ratio of trading words that is most desirable. Thus you should speak. I hope you rot alive before you die, you psycho. The city's always been a vile place, but even that pales in comparison to scum like you. Just you wait. Someday, some piece of trash just as sick and twisted as you's gonna come and leave your stinking corpse in a gutter somewhere. Then is then. Now is now. There ought to have been some 3 minutes remaining. It seems Hermes has obtained the desired reaction sooner than expected. To produce such a length of weapon, stabbing and killing the target before I could so much as swing it. I would have liked to hear more about your 5-year-old daughter. It did stir a tender sting in my heart with recollection of my past daughter. Has laughter escaped betwixt my lips? All my life I have lived believing myself to be someone who moves only as the waves carry him. And yet, perhaps I desired to provoke you thus, to compel you into raging fury, and have you meet your demise within its roars. Yes, for all one knows, that could have been a yearning of my own, as the prescript would have been executed even without resorting to a means such as this. Time to welcome back Miss Don Quixote now, is it? Then I must employ a gentler manner of speech. Let's see. My first words to her should be, Has all gone awry? You look as though you are sunken beneath a heavy gloom. Elimination of biosignal confirmed. Ending recording. Upload complete. Don't tell me that... Ooh. Someone's snooping on him. Gacelus shaft, perhaps? Should we get this final uptie? Increase the bonus damage to 15, gain clash power and bonus damage, raise the coin power cap to 2, 2 sinking on hit without cracking. Final power +1, coin power +1 for every poise and sinking on target. Convert coins equal to unlock stage into unbreakable coins beginning with the final coin. 3 poise, 3 sinking, 2 poise count, 1 sinking count. There's no differences there. Raise the base power to 4. Slash weapons deal 25% damage. If marked with mark of the prescript, deal 20% damage. Coin power +1 for every 6. Raise that to cap to 2. Convert coins equal to unlock stage +1 into unbreakable coins. Ooh. Three sinking count without cracking. He is not sinking stable at all. Furioso Replica. 25% more damage for every net coin power increase. Final power +1 for every poise on self and sinking on target. Does not gain Procuration Hermes for the turn. Consume all Procuration Hermes. 90% damage on a crit. At unlock 3, gain coin power +2, or raise unlock to 2. Gain 2 poise on evade. Oh boy, this is going to be a long one. Maybe I'm going to have to cut the episode in half. No, I'll just stick with going over Sinclair's ego and then we'll cut it and we'll look at the rest of the uptie stories later. So, 6 plus 2, Clash Power plus 1 for every burn and bleed on the target to 6. So it can roll an 18 at max, but it's still not that nice. So the second uptie gives us the passive. So the thread spin it. Alright, so this raises the clash power to 8. So that would actually be rolling a 14 minimum. Cool. Heal 10 SP for 1, and at the moment it is heal 10 SP for... wait, no, that's corrosion. Heal 8 SP up to heal 10 SP. An ally gains 1 to 2 rhythm next turn. At the moment it's just 1 rhythm. Clash power becomes 8, damage becomes 15%, heal 12 SP for 4 other allies, and gain 1 to 2 rhythm. And for the uptie 4, which we're probably going to do because we have the thread to spend, maximum of 10 clash power, so that's a 16, can roll up to 22, that's a lot nicer. 20% more damage for missing HP, 12 SP for an ally to a maximum of 4 units. 1 to 3 rhythm, clash power to 10, max damage to 20, heal 15 SP. 1 to 3 rhythm on hit. Alright, so we're cutting it up here now. Next time we're going to look at the other IDs. So until then guys, take care, I'll see you all around.
과한 탄수화물은 식후 졸음을 유발한다.
닭들이 싸우는 것을 본 적이 있어. 덩치가 작은 놈이 항상 나의 삶은 나선과도 같소. 끝을 향해 언제고 꿰뚫어 나아가지만 점점 그 속도는 느려져서 결국엔 기필코 끝에 도달하지 못하는 딸아이도 같소. 분쇄기 혹은 소각기 혹은 구렁텅이 속의 거미줄, 그러한 것들을 만들어내기 위해 딸아이를 나선 위에, 그리고 또 나의 삶을 나선 위에 세웠지. 멀찍이 보면 나열되고 엉킨 그 모습들이 나선과 다를 바가 없으니 이만한 증거가 또 없겠구려. 자, 들었는가? 이 육회가 내내 끝낼 줄을 모르는 모습을.